The other side of the fence, Lee Anderson accused of Islamophobia. Charlotte Church, the singer, accused of anti-Semitism. She had a sort of concert the other day down in Caerphilly in Wales, where here she is singing From the River to the Sea. Take it away, Charlotte. Toe tapper, isn't it? That's gone straight to the top of the charts, that one.
I was about to say that's making Christmas number one.
Is that not? I mean, we learnt last week from the police that it could well be illegal to chant it in a protest situation. You could argue that Charlotte's situation is a protest. It was a pro-Palestinian gathering, but it's OK to project it against the Houses of Commons, so we're all a bit confused about that. But until then, I think the message to us was this is a genocidal message that's a kind of a hate crime. So what is she doing singing it, Alicia?
I should probably ask Charlotte. I mean, this is another thing that feeds into this wider debate of whether I think like celebrities and public figures should be using their platform to protest about such serious and such, you know, emotive topics. And I think this is something, particularly with this conflict, that lots of people have been asking and trying to work out, is this something we want from public figures? Do we want our public figures involved in these debates? Or do we leave this to I don't know, the news, people like us?
Or Aubrey, should it be against the law? I mean, we were told at one point this is a definite hate message. It involves, you know, the eradication of Israel, the obliteration of the Jewish race. And then all of a sudden, it's OK if you project it, though. And sometimes it's OK to sing it or chant it, but other times it isn't. If it's not OK to chant it in some protest situations, perhaps the police should be investigating Miss Church.
I think there are questions about the sort of police's different approaches to how they deal with people who are either chanting it or singing it or projecting it on, you know, Parliament. Sadiq Khan is technically the sort of police and crime commissioner for London. And I think the point that Lee Anderson was almost trying to make was, if Sadiq Khan sort of ultimately holds responsibility for the police in London, why isn't he instructing them to be more heavy-handed in the implementation of existing powers they have to clamp down on this stuff? But ultimately, it's a matter of interpretation as to whether or not that slogan is anti-Semitic. Right. Lots of people claim it is, and obviously pro-Palestinian protesters say it isn't.
All of this comes down to a matter of interpretation, because I actually think your interpretation of Lee Anderson's probably what Lee Anderson was trying to say but didn't manage to say it because, well, he's just not the most gifted speaker. But then, you know, people have this feeling that, well, hold on, if Lee Anderson's not allowed to say that, but these people are allowed to chant this, then, of course, there was that story with Sadiq Khan, who said that white families don't represent real Londoners in his advice to staff. I mean, but how can he say that? This is the big problem at the moment in society, and we have these huge debates going round and round and round, which just make people get angry, just make people get tense, spill over into hate crimes and all the rest of it, when, frankly, the government should be debating what they should be doing about this stuff.
Definitely, and I think just politicians in general need to be careful not to turn religion into a political kind of hot potato and use it as a kind of electioneering campaign, because I think that is something that will really anger a lot of people across the country, and not just in our country, I mean across the world. No one wants their religion to be the focus of gaining votes or losing votes for a political party. I mean, you know, it shouldn't really be that just shouldn't, religion shouldn't really be politicised, but of course it is, especially when there's conflicts like the one that we're seeing going on. It's a very, sadly, there are two main religions involved, and of course then that makes religion really heavily politicised. But I think politicians in general are going to have to really assess how that they broach this topic as we approach the election.
Yeah, I think this is what worries me about it is, look, I mean, as we've sort of agreed, you know, what the problem for Lee Anderson is what he said is just demonstrably not true. I mean, I just think Sadiq Khan is not nearly competent enough to divide London among his Muslim mates if he ever wanted to do that. The problem with him is he's just useless. But I don't think he's done that. So that's the problem.